Okay.
Okay. Well, I'd really like to welcome everybody for coming, and I really want to welcome you, Mary, and thank you, and Sandra for putting this cancer support group together, and you, Bruce, for your technical skills. And a little bit of my background. Most of you know me, but my name is Denise Abda, and I worked at CMC Hospital for 30 years testing blood. So with that background, I always looked upon other modalities, kind of because I saw how that can be limiting. And then I also studied out at the pH Miracle Center with Robert Young, who teaches the advantage of green, healthy food and an alkaline balance, and how it's important to make healthy lifestyle choices. And
Hi, how are you?
hi, welcome.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to go over some of the information that I find is appropriate, and I want you to think about it, you know, when you leave here, and how we're eating and how it affects our lives. So my PowerPoint starts with bringing to the idea that we are the richest country in the world, yet we are the sickest. And wondering why we are so unhealthy. Could it be our food choices, our stressful life, our water, you know, drinking water, our exercise or not, approach to medicine, and our environmental factors. Come on in.
Hi, come on in. Hi. Here, what do you can sit here.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Mary.
You did good.
Mary, this is Kathy, the person that I was hoping would come and
Welcome.
have a chance to talk to Denise. I'm
Yay.
beside myself that she showed up.
Yay,
And
welcome.
it's a little one too.
You're all here.
Okay.
So what we know today is each person living faces a myriad of health challenges, and we're consistently being fed information about ways to live and eat. We're constantly searching for why we are gaining weight, feeling tired, challenged with issues, and face life-threatening illness. We're reminded every day when we pick up the magazines. On the right, you'll see the latest that says when we grow up, 1 of us will get cancer. Cancer is now 1 out of 3 people living today, and women and heart disease is so on the rise, and it's affecting women in their 40s. So some of us choose to ignore this, and we're not doing much about it. You know, Newsweek offers cancer and diet, and the special report offers doctors of the future are going to prescribe food as their medicine. So some foods give you energy and some do not. Of course, the top area is, you know, nice, green, healthy food, and supplements, and the bottom are processed food and supplements. So there's always a difference in the supplements you might be taking. But in the work that I do, we want to always put into our energy bank and alkalize ourselves, because if we're constantly taking out without depositing, we can run into major health challenges. So I talk about pH balance work, and our blood should be maintained at a value of 7.365, and that's, if we're living and breathing, that's what it is. In order to do that, we have to keep some kind of a deposit coming in. So if you see the right of this graph on the bottom, it's healthy alkaline green food, and if you eat that consistently, this works as you're putting into an alkaline balanced state. If you're constantly eating the American diet, soda, coffee, you know, beer, hot dogs, food that's all processed, we have to maintain a balance at some point. So the food is important in how we're picking and choosing the food. Our nutrients are electric. On the right, we see the energy properties. If the bottom shows 0 is death, at 0 megahertz, we do have a vibration within our cells, and at 0, we're not functioning. And typical vitamins will give you 10 megahertz. Our typical diet gives you 50 megahertz. We need a maximum of 70 megahertz every day. And on the right, we have foods carry energy properties, and when they're nourished through the soil and water, that energetic property will get into our own cells. So the body is electric. That seems to be in the headlines these days. And we have about 75 trillion cells throughout our body. So we want to nourish and feed those cells well. Each one of our cells function as an individual tuning fork. The body has an energy field, or the energy field has a body. Energy comes first. That was taught by Einstein. And the Chinese healer says blood follows qi. We're looking to make healthy red blood cells every day so we can nourish our organs. And we can do that with the proper choice of foods. Our bodies break down to 1 to 2% vitamin minerals, 7% protein, 20% fat. We are 70% water and 1% sugar. So our digestive system is consists of one end where we put food in to the other end where food comes out. And that is 27 feet long. It's 7,200 square feet. That's the size of a tennis court. We have 3 to 4 million red cells every second that are being made by the food we eat. We make new blood every 120 days. Our heart beats 100,000 times a day, moving 2.5 ounces of blood. And this blood circulates throughout the body and the heart every 3 minutes. So in the work that I do, the focal point of where you produce a lot of your blood by the food you take is in the small intestine. So if you see over there on the left, on the right, she's eating an apple and it goes down your mouth and into your stomach and into your small intestine. And on the left, if you see the pipe, is the small intestine, and there's villi in your intestinal tract. And when those villi are standing up, a lot of people have celiac and gluten. We can talk about that, gluten, allergies. But it should be nice and healthy and the villi standing up, because as food drops down between each one of them, we're making blood. Each one of those villi have an artery and a vein to take oxygen and waste products through the body. So I look at blood under the microscope, and you take a drop out of your finger, and I can see differences in how your cells are functioning. On the left is healthy blood, and it's smooth, rounded, plump in color. The plasma is clean and clear. That's a healthy specimen. And on the right, it's called the dry cell, and I look for patterns in there. And that one happens to be normal. There are no white puddles and no white patterns that I would need to be concerned about. So when I work with people, I actually do this pH work. I look at the blood under the microscope, and I see where their blood is. And here's some examples. This is called rouleau. If your blood is looking like that, it's a direct proportion of the amount of acids in your blood, and it's like stacks of coins. The extreme incidences of this are observed in too much protein. This is an aggregate. It's known as some clumping. It restricts blood flow through the capillaries. It inhibits oxygen and the transfer of cellular nutrition. Here's some ghost cells. They're ruptured. That's telling me you're not getting enough healthy oils in your diet. The coating on your red cells is disintegrating. And this is Berry cells. That means there's a lot of toxicity going on. Your liver and kidneys are not eliminating the toxins that you are faced with every day, and we're all faced with them. They have rough, thorn-like appearances. These are target cells. They're deficient in iron, and they can't carry oxygen through the body. And it would tell me that you need some sort of spleen support. So these pictures are all pretty indicative of your health. On the left, we have some symplasms and yeast. That if I see those pictures, a lot of times I'm curious whether you have a sweet tooth or not, because those yeast mats need to be fed too. And on the right are some crystals, and crystals are actually solidified acids. So when we have some of these pictures, I know your liver isn't working to keep your blood pretty clean. This is a lot of times what I see. It's just a quick little roundup of what's how we're living and what your blood looks like. And this picture is actually the base of the work, because the left, if you remember the one before where it was nice and clear and there was nothing within the spaces between the cells, the one on the right, and now see what's happening over here? The RBCs are being affected by the acids in the body, the acids that are within that spaces between the red cells. Those white spots are yeast. The red cells have thorny-like appearances on their membranes. There's target cells, you're not carrying oxygen. And then the one on the right is a cancerous state. So instead of being nice and rounded, we've got a lot of white puddlings. And if you come in and you're looking like this, it's easy to make change if you start to make proper choices that will increase the alkalinity of your blood, because alkaline support neutralizes the acid profile. Otto Warburg won the Nobel Prize in 1952 when he showed that the pH is off, oxygen will fall, cells respire without oxygen and they ferment, and this increases acid, and cancer lives in an acid environment. Now, he won that in 1952, which is pretty cool to think of, since we haven't done much about it, right?
Yeah.
But on a daily basis for you and me and everybody else that's interested, we can change what we're doing from an acid profile on the left to an alkaline profile on the right. So it's important to make right choices in food. We see on the left we have orange juice and beer and hamburgers and ice cream, a lot of dairy products, coffee and soda, which is probably a lot of what we're eating. And then on the right we have the green food and avocados and nuts and celeries and healthy supplements, green drink and water. We have all the fresh vegetables on the right side. That's me.
Lisa wasn't one of us, Denise.
Okay.
Really bad.
I love crying in the car.
So, acid foods build up and we can hold our weight, and then when we switch over to an alkaline diet, we have a lot of energy, we're feeling better, and we can pretty much do things easier. Dairy is a major contributor to acid. If you're eating a lot of dairy, those crystals show up a lot of times. When you do more alkaline foods, it's like putting warm water over ice. Those crystals will melt, and you'll see it. It's pretty cool to see the changes when you make a different choice of food. So on the right, this happens to be the guy I studied with is Dr. Robert Young, and he brought this work forward, and this is his blood on the right. On the left, it's pretty clear and rounded and suspended and nice, and then on the right, it was 1 hour after eating meat. For some reason, those cells just stick together trying to break all that down because it's an acid product. So just to get back to the nutrients being electric, it's a good idea to have a 70 to 80% raw alkaline food on your plate. And then, all foods, we get back to foods having vibrational frequencies. Foods are no longer about fat grams, carbs, and sodium and sugar. It's about what level of life force the food has. And examples of this to make a change, there's a hamburger and chicken and french fries, and we can switch that. We can show that's measured at 5 megahertz. Remember, I showed you at the beginning the megahertz of energy. These were measured at 5 megahertz on the left and 3 megahertz on the right, and that's how your blood shows up. If you were to switch it to a beautiful plate of vegetables, and a lentil sprout on the right, the vegetables measured at 85 megahertz, and the lentil sprout measured at 250 megahertz of energy, and then this is how your blood shows up. So this has been scientifically done. I was actually out there when we were measuring food and measuring the vibration and doing the blood and watching how it changed, so I can verify that that's true. I've seen the changes that people were experiencing when they were choosing this. The fact of the matter does show that all leafy green vegetables are high in calcium, iron, magnesium, vitamin C, and a lot of the B vitamins. There's wheatgrass and broccoli, celery, artichokes. Because the greens have 25% protein. You know, a lot of people are concerned about protein, but when we're eating too much protein, that's, not easily digested, which is a lot of those meat products and fish and animal products. It gets too hard for our kidneys. Remember when we were all trying to follow, the Atkins diet? A lot of people ended up with kidney stones because the protein was too much for the kidneys to release. So what happened, they were taking calcium out of their bones and it lodged up in their kidneys, and then they were getting kidney stones. So these foods contain more than 100 elements. Every mineral and trace mineral is found in wheatgrass. That's why a lot of people choose wheatgrass juice. Helps your liver keep your blood clean. There's more iron per volume than spinach. It contains B vitamins, including B12. And it's the highest provitamin A than any other food. It's rich in vitamins C, E, and K, which are important for the liver to detox. And it's antifungal and antimycotoxin. So, when we're eating foods, it has to go in and go through, our blood carries it through our liver, and our liver has detoxification properties, and that's coding through our genetics. Our DNA is essential to have our detox processes work. If you see under step 1, the required nutrients for detox are B vitamins and folic acid, glutathione, antioxidants, milk thistle. So when I'm looking at blood and I'm seeing, some liver markers, I try to tell the clients that I'm working with they need to get on a glutathione supplement or take more antioxidants or drink milk thistle tea. Step 2 is required nutrients for detoxification is a lot of your amino acids and sulfur. Sulfur is the #1 combative agent against inflammation in the body. If you take in sulfur, you're going to help your inflammatory process reduce a lot easier. Step 1 and step 2, detox leads to waste products that have to come out of the body, and they are eliminated from your gallbladder, your kidneys, go out through your urine, your bowel. So all these things need to be supported, and these products, these metabolic products and microorganisms, everything definitely has an advantage if you're taking it in the right dosage. So I talked a little bit too about the high protein approach. Back in the 19th century, we were told 120 grams of protein a day is good. Then the conventional nutritionists dropped that to 60 to 90. And now research is showing 75 grams of protein is sufficient, or even less. If you're getting the essential proteins, you don't need to have, a lot of protein because your body utilizes it. So I just put this in to realize when we're eating the burger, it has to go through the liver and all those processes. It doesn't necessarily give you what you need for detoxification. Everybody talks about, I'm going on a detox or I'm going on a cleanse. It's very important at that time to get in the proper juices and the right information, the right choices of food that will help your liver keep your blood clean. Because we can pick that up on some of these pictures when I look at your blood. The quality of your blood is determined by the quality of the food and the liquid that you drink. So we want to put into our energy bank. We want to eat more of those green foods and keep it in an alkaline state. You can make change from having too much of acid products. So let's start at the beginning of your day. Coffee and orange juice can be changed to a green smoothie. That's how I start my day. If anybody's interested, I'll be glad to share my recipes. But I do get a green smoothie in every morning. Bacon and eggs can be switched over to, that's avocados and tomatoes and celery and tofu sticks. That happens to be non-GMO. Cereal pancakes. You can have some nice soy pudding, green lime pudding, coconut pudding. Because on the left it's going to be actually acidic withdrawal, and on the right you're going to be putting energetics, alkalizing deposits into your day, and it keeps you pretty healthy. Dr. C. Everett Koop was a former Surgeon General, and he said your choice of diet will affect your long-term health more than any other action you may take. And when I do the blood and I look at it, I can see what's happening. And then when you make change and come back, it resonates with your cells. So another aspect of this work is how acids will settle in your weak area of your genetics. And these are definitely called your dead zones because they're not working anymore. So I'm working through to test some genetic testings, but that's also affected by GMOs. Does everybody know what GMO foods are? Anybody? I mean, are you all familiar with it or no? I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Genetically modified foods right now are really on the shelves of a lot of packaged foods. They're in the products because genetically modified foods with seedlings of Monsanto, who was trying to control all of the seed buying, actually strips organisms and DNA from specimens that are not affected by Roundup and weed killer, and they inject it into corn and soy and cotton, and you know there's even wheat now that has genetically modified organisms in it. Yep, canola. Those are the four big ones: canola, soy, corn, and what was the other one?
You said, and then
Soy.
wheat. You said
Corn. Corn,
Cotton.
canola, soy, and cotton. They're the big ones, but they're doing it with a lot more
Well, and sugar beets.
sugar beets. Yeah, it's bad. So since the scientists are making GMO foods, and you know it's been in the news about that Prop 37, 39, what's it in California? I forget the number, but they're trying to have all the foods labeled that they're genetically modified. When they're spraying Roundup on the genetically modified food, the weeds are dying, but the food isn't dying. But that's the food we eat. And the further science that's happening right now is the genetically modified fibers that we can't break down are showing up in our body as Morgellons disease. I don't know if anybody's hearing about that, but Morgellons disease is connected to the exact same fibers that we're finding under the microscope in the GMO foods.
What is it?
Morgellons.
It's where like little hairs grow up like.
It's like, you know, you might feel things under your skin or something and can't really identify what they are, and then when they're looked at, they are they're equivalent
Oh.
to what the genetically modified seedlings have as far as the splicing of the genes in the food.
Yeah,
So
there's a famous baseball player in his family that
Oh,
that
yes.
had it,
It's
the
quite
Oakland
common now.
A's, yeah,
It is.
it is.
Yeah.
You know, but they're not really identifying it that way, but they are saying that it does look like the same fibers. So, you know, I just thought I'd put that in there so we might want to talk about it a little bit. And the GMO food can give you cancer, and that was by a scientist called Rob Edwards. He did the work in 12/9 of 2012. You can find that in that study out there. So cancer kills more children than any other disease. It's 1 out of 2 today. By age 12, 70% of the children are in early stages of hardening of the arteries, and 2 in 5 American children are obese, 7 to 10. Of the school-age kids are ADD. Cancer comes from acid products that are not eliminated, and the channels of elimination are respiration, perspiration, elimination, and urination. Heart disease is a muscle that aids in helping circulate everything through the body, so we want to keep that muscle healthy, and it does work well when it's alkaline and an alkaline fluid. Toxins are stored in the fat, and fish oil supplement improves brain function. So these are pretty known statistics out there. I don't know how many people are making this part of their daily lifestyle. So to prevent illness, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. It's prevention that we will find the cure. We can prevent all of those with the right foods. We can look at your blood under the microscope and see what's happening in inflammation and, you know, identify the imbalance. Of course, I can't identify cancer, but I can identify the puddles that would lead up to cancer, and if you make right changes and come back, they're gone. I've seen it happen over and over. I actually worked out with Dr. Young, many people that went out there reverse their cancer on, bicarbonate IVs and green food and elimination and colonics. And for me, it was really a healthy way to support yourself. The FDA has now shown that all diseases are a result of the lack of proper nutrition. It's most important that we support our detox pathways in our liver. Our liver is one of the most important organs that help with detoxification. And if we take in the right supplements, the right food, we can prevent a lot of these diseases. And we now have DNA testing available. So for me, that was really cool to be able to see what's happening in a prevention place and looking at blood and making changes and having your blood look healthier because you're eating more healthy green foods. But now when I work with some of the clients that I have that are doing DNA testing, I'm identifying where they're not detoxing because they're not making enzymes or proteins that go through the liver. So once they start doing this, their liver starts working and everything seems to be a lot easier for them to actually get into more of an alkaline balance. It's pretty cool for me in some of the work that I have out there. So I think that's it. Any questions? Yep.
If somebody was really bad, target cells and all that stuff, and then they switch their diet and totally switch, how long will that take to become healthier?
Well, see, what happens sometimes, I've seen this happening. Their cells look really bad and they get on this approach and they're cleansing and juicing and only green food for 10 days and their blood looks worse when they come back because they're spilling all these toxins in there. So I've seen two different avenues of that. If your detox processes of your enzymes and proteins do not go through your liver between those pathways correctly, it's going to take you a longer time. But if you can get the right nutrition to help those enzyme pathways work, I've seen people get better in 1 month. I've seen them get better in 3 months. So your red cells live 120 days. That's 4 months. It's a lot of work. I've seen it happen. I've seen people make change. I've seen their blood show up better. But it's a lot to really embrace that lifestyle, and it's not easy. I'm not saying that it's something that, we want to wake up tomorrow and start, but if you're continuously helping yourself by putting in more foods that keep your blood clean and show up better in a profile when I'm looking at the blood, if you stay that path, it happens. It works. Dr. Young's work says, he's the guy who's really an alkaline balanced approach, says cancer comes from toxins that we don't eliminate, not enough oxygen, the cells aren't being excreted quickly, they're fermenting, we don't have the right food coming in, we don't have the clear pathways going. So I don't think any one thing is going to do it. I think we need a combination, but food is really important to support the physiology. Your mind is just as important as you're thinking you're getting healthier. There's studies out there that show people who were really sick and the doctor said you don't have much longer and they passed and they weren't going to accept that. And they got themselves healthy because they went and did a lot of alkaline foods, they changed the way they thought, they did a lot of vibrational work, they did massages, and I've seen, I can, if anybody's interested, I can get you in touch with these people, yeah.
When you're mentioning that, equally, aren't there just like people who have tried this that it doesn't work too?
Yeah, yeah, there are, but for me, because I studied understanding how this process works. And I've seen people that were totally alkaline. All of their measurements of alkalinity was high, and they didn't make it. And I said to the guy, I'm watching this blood, and their picture's looking good. They're connected. They're emotionally connected to their disease. So there's work out there that people do those emotional releases in different areas there that help them eliminate that part of their health too. So I know that I've seen people really get better quickly, but they've also done emotional work. I think the energy part and the emotion and the green food and the alkaline balance and make sure you're eliminating and make sure you're taking in the right foods. And if I look at it under the microscope and we see change, that's a huge effect on your mental state too.
Right.
You're going in the right direction. Yeah.
So Denise, tell me, What would be a typical day for you with your meals? and
Well, I'm not that
snacks?
good. I'm good, right? Because I've seen it. I do.
So what do you have your green drink for
I
breakfast?
do have my green drink for breakfast. I'll have a nice salad with an alkaline dressing because
for
we.
breakfast?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I have salad for breakfast. Even at lunch, I'll do an alkaline salad. I'll do salad with like my dressings are more alkaline. I don't use vinegar by choice. But if I'm out, I'm not one of those people that, I'm not inviting her there. She doesn't eat anything we have. So you don't want that out there because it is a balance, right? So I'll do a green drink in the morning or a green smoothie, green juice, and I'll put minerals in there because minerals are alkalizing. Without minerals, your vitamins can't function and go through your body and be supportive of your organs. I'll put some clay in there, which is actually diatomaceous earth, so that adsorbs off your intestinal tract so you can absorb the food you're eating to make healthier blood. So I'll put that in my morning shake. My lunch is a salad, or, I'll go to Caribbean. I'll get the quinoa, some of those salads that they have here. I'll get healthier foods like that, and dinner, sometimes I do a soup and a salad. Or, sometimes I'll just do a shake at night for dinner too. I'm sitting a lot, and, I just want to get some more vibrational food in there. And I was taught when you blend your food and puree it, it's easier for you to digest it because it's already broken down for you. The energy you would need to digest that food is already done, and it's easier for you to absorb when it's in a shake or a smoothie.
And so what is in your smoothie at breakfast?
I do, in the morning, I'll do kale and celery and ginger and a green apple and a lime and a cucumber.
Okay, and what sort of machine, is this a
I use
juicer or is
I
this like
put it in the juicer.
Okay, so you're making...
I'm making the juice first,
Okay.
and then I'm putting it in some, not always, and then I'll put the food in there. I mean, the supplements, the minerals, and the clay that I use. I'll put it in there with some ice. Maybe I might want a little slushy. And then sometimes I'll put all that juice in a blender with an avocado, just to make it thicker. So that kind of takes me through the day. And when I see those ghost cells, did you see the picture of those ghost cells? You need more oils because the lipid membrane around your red blood cells is not strong. That has to be strong to get, to carry nutrition through, to get waste products out. That's permeable and it has to be strong. So if I see that you're coming in with ghost cells, I want you to put, a tablespoon of oil into that shake in the morning, just so you.
What kind of oil would you recommend?
I like hemp. Hemp oil is a big. There's studies out there that show hemp oil is reversing cancer.
Yeah, I read that.
Oh,
So,
it's
yeah,
cool.
First time I've been taking hemp.
Yeah, hemp oil. I'll use flax oil. I'll use Udo's 369. Those the oils that are in the health. Borage oil, walnut oil. I switch off. And of course fish oil. Fish oil is healthy for you too. So that would be for the morning, and I switch that. So I have recipes that are mint mock malt, and it's mint flavor with some grapefruit and some coconut. They're really refreshing. I think I brought it one time when we were doing our thing,
Oh,
didn't
my
I?
God, it was so good.
They were good.
It was
They
so
were
good.
good. I'll do that one. I have a seasoned shake, which is a little spicy. I've been doing this work on myself for about 20 years. And I just really got more into it in the last 9 years because I've been studying out at the PH Miracle Center. So I was trying to really get my husband here, to wake up and have a pretty green shake, a nice green shake. It's only been the last 2 years. He's finally willing. He gets up now and asks for it because I'm making a spicy shake. I'll put some jalapeno in it a little bit in the morning, but it's pretty tasty. I like it. It's good.
So now, I never heard about the lentil sprouts having such a high Hertz.
Yeah.
So, so how do we go about doing the lentil sprouting?
So then when, that will be a morning shake that I do. Then for lunchtime, I'll do a salad and I'll bring lentil sprouts. Red lentils are the only lentils out there that you can soak. When you soak food, you release their enzyme potential. Soak beans and grains, and now I use the red lentils. They're the only ones that you can soak and eat. The other ones require boil. Green and French and the black lentils, you need to boil those. but I'll put a handful of red lentils in water for about a half hour, and that releases their enzyme potential. They are now considered sprouted, and then I'll just dry them off and throw them on top of my salad at lunchtime. And they're tasty. It's really good. Even for the salad, you can do green pumpkin seeds. Get the raw pumpkin seeds and just toast them a little bit on the stovetop. I'll put it in a pan and I'll flip it until they puff up a little bit, and that's a great protein snack.
Oil, butter, how do you?
Nothing.
Oh, you just heat them
Just
up.
I just warm a skillet, and then I'll just throw a handful of them in, and I'll just toast them. My 19-year-old son likes that. And when do you get them to eat that food, right? But once you start eating this way, you know, it's really, your cells respond. It's healthy. I have a hard time eating salads out because they're not so plentiful. I can make a meal out of a salad, you know. And then I know the blood you make from that is really healthy. It'll keep you healthy. So you were asking me about prevention. This is it. I've seen people heal coming this way. I've seen people's, you know, there's a woman out there, her website is Crazy Sexy Cancer. She had 4th stage cancer at her liver at the age of 31. And she was given 6 months to live with chemotherapy, and she said, I am not doing that. And it is 9 years later, and she adapted this lifestyle, and her liver, 4 liver tumors are a blemish. And you can see that video online. It's called Crazy Sexy Cancer. It's a 7-minute video. It's pretty cool. She's inspiring. You know, she's done this work. She talks about it. Yep, she's been on Oprah. She's been on Dr. Oz.
Yep.
You know, a lot of people are waking up to being, you know, doing this green stuff and raw food, and the enzymes in raw food are very important, so you could digest more of the food you're taking in.
Can you do it halfway? I mean, seriously, have your green.
You can. Any little bit. It's a balance act,
And
okay?
you mentioned like vinegar.
Yeah.
That you don't do
Vinegar is highly acidic. What are the most acid foods we eat every day? Vinegar and coffee.
So, like at the health food store, they have the organic apple cider vinegar.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people who take that daily.
Yes. Okay, so that was a question for me too, because I read those books and found people get benefit from apple cider vinegar. Remember the picture I showed you with the villi? If your food's going to fall down in between these fingers, and you know, in this work you're going to make healthy blood as it assimilates through there. The importance as we age, those villi get flat, they get congested, stuff gets in there. When we're born, our small intestine is beautiful, plush, pipe, ready for food, you know, we're having a great life. By the time we're older, it's paper thin because of acid foods wear it down. So when people start with an apple cider vinegar approach, they're actually cleaning a lot of those crypts out. The acids from the apple cider vinegar does have property to clean those crypts. In time, it'll start to wear those villi away. So that's
Right, 'cause
part
I
of
just
the
make
acid.
cucumbers with apple cider vinegar.
Well, you know, that's...
And water. I mean,
Breathe, Kathy. Breathe, Kathy, that'll help.
it's like,
It's okay to use, but you need to, you know, that'll take you down the acid path a lot quicker. So I would when people are doing that, they're going to get benefit because you're going to feel better, and it does have some healings, and then the whole science behind the apple cider vinegar with the mother, you need that in there to keep the whole vinegar healthy. But that's what my mentor said happens when you're doing apple cider vinegar. You're getting benefit because you're cleaning your villi, because we don't normally do that. But because it's an acidic profile, in time it starts to wear them away.
right, so you want to do it every day.
Right, right. You'd be better off not.
So what would clean that villi?
Aloe. Okay. You'd be better off with aloe. Aloe vera has cleaning properties to clean the intestinal villi so you can absorb your food better. So aloe vera can be taken internally, and it actually is one of the best healing agents for the mucous membrane that your digestion tract is. So a lot of people that I work with, I want them to start on aloe vera right away, and they get amazing relief in just a week or two. If you take aloe vera instead of Prilosec and Pepsid and, you know, all those stopping the acids because you have heartburn, the aloe vera heals this lining nicely.
How do you take that? Can
They-
you put that in your shake and stuff?
I there's different kind. There's aloe vera gel, and there's aloe vera liquid, and there's just like an aloe vera water. These commercial ones that you see in the stores are not worth it. There's sugar in them, and that's not good. But if you just get a good aloe vera supplement and just take 1 ounce before you eat every meal, like 3 ounces a day, you will definitely help heal your mucous membranes a
Does
lot
it drink it?
quicker. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you could put it in the shake if you're going to make it, or you can just take an ounce in and, swallow it. That's easy to do.
And now, what do you think about fermented foods?
I think fermented foods are good for your intestinal tract because they help break it down. I think there we go with the Balance Act again. Most people, if we don't even know we're eating GMO foods, so we don't even know what those genetics are doing as we take it in. There's a lot of good with fermented foods to actually break foods down. So I do it. I get Gail's vegetables and take a tablespoon a day. She recommends a tablespoon 3 times a day. So what I like clients to do when I'm working with them is aloe vera to clean your intestinal tract, fermented vegetables, because it's like a probiotic. I don't recommend probiotics because that's such a process of bacteria. A lot of people do probiotics, but that capsule, the bacteria's been processed and held in a capsule for who knows how long, and then you're ingesting it. So you're going to get healthy, local, good bacteria from local foods that you take and put in your shake, and it's everywhere. So I don't think processed probiotics, bacteria is good. The next step better than that to digest your food in a healthy way is the fermented vegetables.
So Everything Natural does sell some fermented vegetables. And they're a little pricey.
Yeah.
But they're called Food for Life, and they have the kimchi, a little spicy.
Yeah.
I mix it with a little sauerkraut.
Yeah.
The bubbies. And
it's good. It is good for
and
your
then they have
intestine.
like a beet salad too. And
And I think they're starting to sell the kvass up there. Don't they have
I don't know what
kvass?
that is.
It's like a fermented beet juice. Beet
They
kvass.
are? In the refrigerator something?
I don't think so. Maybe it was Wegmans I saw it.
Oh.
But those kind of things are good, for juicing
Yeah.
and cleansing. You're going to get good healing properties using those in your daily diet. Anything else?
Well, I'd like to talk about GMOs. I had read how there's some physicians who are telling their patients, to get off GMOs completely, and their health is totally improved. And but they sneak it in so many foods, that you really have to just
You have
watch
to
yourself.
really be
So I just
at
thought
the
you could talk a little bit about.
The GMOs, it's in like hydrolyzed yeast, and a lot of the seasonings have stabilizers and fillers that are GMO. All of your crackers, if you look down the cracker aisle and start reading the label, they have canola and cottonseed, and unless it says non-GMO on the package, you're getting a genetically modified food, because the big companies want to be able, they say the reason for that is to be able to feed enough people, because we are so many people right here. But, I've read where there's an underlying reason they want to keep you sick. Keep your system not working correctly so they can keep you in this treatment mode, and, that might not be a good thing. So it's wise to educate yourself and not eat genetically modified food.
So some of the big things would be a salad dressing. It would be cookies, breads, ice cream.
It's good to
really
shop.
most of the processed foods.
And even dairy, because the cows are getting fed GMO corn.
Right.
So your regular milk is not healthy at all.
So if people chose the organic milk, then they wouldn't be getting those hormones and the GMO feed them?
We hope.
Okay.
Right? Because how can we know now, today? We can't guarantee everything is free of it because of pollination. There's studies out there that the insecticides are now even affecting the bees. There's a great video out there called Vanishing of the Bees. The bees are being affected by the EMFs. They're not pollinating our food, pollinating the flowers and the foods that we're eating. It's a big circle that might get ugly in time. So
you may want to explain what EMF is.
EMFs are electromagnetic fields. They're what happens when you use your cell phone. They're from lights. We get them. They're from a hairdryer. They're from the computer. Electromagnetic fields are man-made energy fields that because of all the electronics that we use on a daily basis, affect our cells. You know, when you're standing by a computer, your cells do get affected. When you're using your cell phone, you know, all of this is coming in. It's not just coming to your phone, it's coming right to your head. There's a lot of studies out there that are showing that the cell phones are causing, you know, neurological trouble and damage. So you might, you know, in order to help eliminate that problem, that creates free radicals. You want to be able to make sure you can clean up your liver with DNA coded correctly, detox for free radicals, scavenge up the peroxides that are left over from all these chemical processes that are occurring. I think it's going to get ugly, right, Mary? I'm just, yeah, I hope so too. So I'm glad to be here and talk about this and help people get educated. It might, you know, you might want to start reading a little bit more of what your labels are saying. But since this is a cancer group, I brought, you know, cancer support, cancer prevention. I wanted to bring forth information about a product that I'm using, actually called fucoidan. And fucoidan has properties. Fucoidan is actually listed on the Sloan Kettering website, and it's Fucoidan.
Do you want us to turn the light on?
Okay, okay.
Bruce? Wow, thank you, Tara.
So, fucoidan, I'm going to pass these out. You guys can take one of these home and read it, and that my information is on there. But fucoidan is actually listed on the Sloan Kettering website as having apoptosis properties. And apoptosis is when cancer cells self-destruct and they're not getting fed. So that can happen when you use a nutritional support. Fucoidan has 1,000 plus studies on PubMed. So if you're looking to see what you're taking and how it's out there in clinical trials and what science behind it is, you can go on PubMed.com. It's a government-published medical journal. If you just put in fucoidan, you'll read there's over 1,000 studies on what fucoidan can do when you have cancer. So, you know, a lot of the clients that I work with show up and their blood isn't looking too good, and you know they're really at wit's end sometimes. I've had a couple of clients that have used fucoidan. I have the science study from the doctors. 10 ounces a day for 7 weeks reversed 4th stage cancer. That's pretty cool.
What
You know,
I don't understand is with all these scientific studies, why is the medical community so slow?
They're not going to recognize this because this is a natural product. Fucoidan comes out of the waters of Songa. They're not going to be able to benefit and make a lot of money that way.
They can't patent
They can't patent it.
money.
Yeah. And this can't be sold like that. This is a small group, and I'm just saying it so you all can benefit and remember that I said it if you're ever really interested and know somebody that really wants help. But it's sold as a nutritional support, you know, but I've seen it work over and over and over and over. I have people on this around this country right now, and it was pretty cool for me to watch it. I was really happy when the first couple of people I started to use this with were getting benefit, and they went back and their doctor said they can't find their cancer. And I do need to, I will tell you one thing. I have a little girl right now. She's 12 years old in Williamsport. And she's on the fucoidan, and she's on the DNA testing. She has a glioma. She's 18 months. That's a brain tumor, those brain tumors we hear about with the fingers growing. So I've been working with her. She's doing the fucoidan. She's doing the greens diet. She's doing the DNA testing. And her brain tumor shrunk 2.5 centimeters recently. So that was pretty cool for me to be able to help her family identify that. I've seen it happen. I'm seeing people get better. You know, when they just start to learn and be conscious of what you're eating, be conscious of how you can make change and know that what you're eating is really affecting the blood you're making every day. So,
Can I just interject something
yeah.
with that question? We have to remember that we get our food and our health care from huge industries,
Yeah.
okay? So and they're profit-based.
Mhm.
So they don't really care about whether or not it's nutritionally sound.
Right.
It's how long it stays on the shelves and how cheap can they make it, and et cetera, et cetera. But there's a group that just formed. It's on the front of Time magazine, April 1st issue. It's a group of cancer survivors and ones that have lost loved ones to cancer, and all kinds of, but most of them are celebrities of some sort, actors, actresses, and they decided to approach cancer like a movie, and they are putting tons of money into it, and they said, we will give you X number of years, we're going to hire the smartest scientists in the world, and we will give you X number of years to resolve cancer. We have the same answers for cancer that we had 50 years ago. I was given the same, and so was Mary, the same thing that they were 50 years ago. Now, 50 years of research, 50 years, it didn't take them 50 years to figure out GMO. You know?
Really?
I mean, that's a pretty incredible thing to do. Change a plant genetically. Okay, come on.
And the
So-
Nobel Prize they got for cancer doesn't live in an alkaline environment in 1952, right?
Right. So you change how we produce food and what's available to us in the supermarket. I mean, can you just imagine that the only thing available to us in the supermarket are the products that Denise is talking about?
Yeah.
How could that happen?
I know.
It can't happen. You know, really, not a thing.
So what I
So
do when I
anyways,
go shopping is just shop the perimeter. If you think about it, all the fresh, healthy food is when you come in, it's always the produce and the back part. You know, if you're going to eat the meat and the animal products, just make sure that they're grass-fed or they're range-free and...
Won't find that in the supermarket.
You won't.
Yeah,
You
true,
So if you're gonna eat meat, don't buy it in the supermarket.
true. Yeah, there's all levels, you know, we can get there. The next level is don't trust, you know,
Well,
your
people
local.
may want to
Your
think about
chosen-
joining a CSA. Those are the local
They are
farmers.
here, right? We
Yes,
do
they
have
are.
access to
Tara
them.
and us are in a CSA. I don't know if you want to talk about that CSA.
Sure, there's a couple around here. I know the one we're doing this year is Hemlock Creek CSA, and they are all organic. What was the one we did last? You guys did a different one last year, but
We did, and the food was great.
oh, Ann Hill Farm is
Ann
another
Hill
local
Farm.
CSA
I
from
can't remember
Honesdale.
what we did.
There's
And
one in
so-
Honesdale too, right? Like,
Well, Ann Hill Farm is from Honesdale.
Okay.
There might be another one. So what that is you, in a sense, support the farmers that are growing this food. So at the beginning of the season, you supply a monetary amount, and then throughout the growing season, they deliver you vegetables like every week or every other week,
ton of
depending on what you
vegetables.
sign up for. And I mean, it's so much fun because you get things that you never probably would have ever tried, but it's also, I mean, it's more vegetables than you know what to do with
Well, and some will
sometimes.
have organic, free-range eggs, chickens, bacon, and then
Healthy.
also, down in Tunkhannock, right where Creekside Garden is at their, old storefront, they had told me, I think it was like 2 months ago, that they're renting it out to local farmers, so people can come and buy organic and, healthy, food and supporting the local farmer at the same time. Because, when we keep supporting big business, we're getting sicker.
yeah.
If we can support the local farmer, we get
And
healthier.
there's the local farmers market that is here on Thursdays down past
Chinchilla.
after, it's in Chinchilla, right? And then there are some, at the farmers market in Scranton, most of them are not organic, but there are a few stands that are. You just have to ask and find out who they are. But there's still, I mean, it's still great, it's local, and you can get your hands on some good produce.
I'm noticing even the organic sections in Wegmans too is growing a little bit. And I was in there last night, all the organic stuff's gone. Like the organic section, it was gone, and the other sections were, pretty much still supple. So that's a good thing. I think we are waking up. That's
And
Yes.
Caribbea's, it's like,
Caribbean has organic
They have
produce.
organic produce,
Everything
yeah.
natural is organic produce and organic meats and eggs. And they even have raw milk,
yeah.
raw goat and raw cow milk.
It's good.
CSA stands for.
Community supported
Any
agriculture.
questions? I'll pass some of these out. Just if you're ever interested.
Any last questions?
Any last
for
questions?
Denise?
You can pass
Denise,
Yep.
my name is Frank Tarantini.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
We had a meat market for 40 years in West Grand, called Yakobino's Meat Market.
Yeah.
We used to kill all our own beef. It was all grass-fed beef. 40, 50 years ago. You didn't find...
You weren't sick, right?
Nobody got sick.
I know.
Everything was grass-fed. There's restaurants in Manhattan right now that I found out, okay, they're using Holstein beef. Holstein are black and white cattle, okay, which are usually milker cattle, okay? Because beef cattle are Herefords, which are the white face with the red body, black Angus, okay? They're using Holstein cattle, grass-fed in New York City.
See, that's good, right? If we can get our way in there a little bit.
Yeah, but it was like this 50 years ago.
I know. Well, I guess we realize what's happening to everybody. Cancer wasn't 1 out of 3. It's really 1 out of 2 now. The statistics that I've just read were 1 out of 2. The guy that I'm working with, understanding this process, says it. It's going to hit us in some way or another if we don't start to wake up and know that we can do something to prevent it. So are you still doing that? Are you still associated with all of it in the meat industry?
Yeah, I cut meat for Gary's.
Do you?
And it's garbage.
I was just going to ask about it.
Garbage.
I bet. How about how you could see the difference, right? You just
you
know.
Taste it, you could smell
You
it.
could
It's
taste
just
it.
that's like what it was before.
I know.
One thing that really cracks me up is people saying, wow, you just saw the size of the chicken breast I have. Do
Yeah.
they know what they pumped into
I
that?
know. What
You know what?
they put
It gets
in.
me. People
It's
say,
not the size,
these
it's
people
the
have
quality.
delicious meat. They have great meat. It all comes from the same spots. They have great meat. This one has great meat.
Yeah.
And it's all boxed beef. You'd be able to pick your own beef out at Armour's or Wilson's. Okay, it was all called hanging beef.
Yeah.
And you pick your own beef out. You can't do
It's
it
not
anymore. It's all
happening.
blocked in on
I
no more.
know.
I just wanted just to ask about the sushi. And they have the seaweed wraps and is that all, healthy for you?
Yeah, the sea vegetables are definitely healthy. There's a lot of mineral content in there, but we don't know the quality of it, right? Like we're hoping it's healthy.
Right, sulfur is found in seaweed. That's kind of
what this is all about. So
Right.
yeah, and Japan is the #1 health country in the world.
We started eating more
so.
seaweed.
Yeah. Oh, it's so healthy for you.
Like they have that seaweed salad. I
Yeah.
try and eat one once a week.
Yeah.
But is that, and it's kind of hard to get down from the beginning.
Yeah, sometimes it is. It's a little, it's right, it's like a little gelatinous or something.
Yeah,
right?
but it is. But that is all healthy.
Yes, minerals are, the reason, I don't know if you know about the Senate Document 264. There was a Senate Document 264 back in the early 60s that the farmers and the PhDs of nutrition went to our Congress and said, we are not mineralizing the earth correctly. And the Congress kind of shoved it under the carpet because it was very expensive, and they're not putting minerals in the ground correctly. It's not getting in our food, and the long-term effects are degenerative disease. So that's why, your question, we did so well with all the healthy stuff. In the 60s, they started to realize this is starting to happen. We're getting more and more diseases. If you Google Senate Document 264, and it's a 9-page document of what happened. So minerals in the seaweed, minerals that you could put in a green shake. I sell plant-based minerals in my office. You can put that in the morning. There's your vitamin supply transport system for the day. It can be easy, We just have to know and be educated.
Do you have any business cards? Because we're getting close to
Yeah, I kind of just brought those. I do have
I
my.
was looking right here.
Yeah.
I was going to go to the nutritionist on Grove Street.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's her? Is that me?
I don't know.
I don't know. Grove Street. I don't know if there's anybody else. I do have, these are my DNA cards. So if you want to hand one over there. Yes, DNA cards. Yeah. I'm happy to, help anybody who's looking for better health. We don't have to just do your blood, and we don't have to get on a program. We just have to really know that if you start eating healthy, you will make healthy blood. But don't give up. You can't, you know, it's easy to get fast food. It's easy to go, when you make a conscious choice of what you're eating, you definitely will feel better.
I just want to thank everyone for coming, and if you want to stay and talk to Denise longer, please stay. And, because I know we try to finish at 7:30, we went over a little bit. But I just want to tell you what the next 3 months are. So, Bruce, I just want to say what the next 3 months are for the speaking. So June, we have Dr. Joseph McAuliffe, who's going to be talking about MindFit. And I've been, it's called MindFit, and Tara can explain a little bit, but it's a program that you buy and you listen to it, and there's frames that go over your eyes. They have cancer programs, and I've been listening to them, and really helping my attitude. I feel more confident about my healing. I'm sleeping so much better, because I was thinking I've been in a state of fight or flight for like a year now, and my sleep hasn't been that great, and these Zen frames are really helping my sleep just be really deep. So maybe Tara can just talk, just MindFit, also known as Zen frames, but I don't know if you want to just say like.
Yeah, Joe, are you there? You want to? You give a little.
I was just saying how you're going to be the speaker for June. So the next meeting is June 18th at 6:30, and Dr. McAuliffe is going to be our speaker on MindFit.
Well, I don't want to give the whole thing away, but basically, a big issue that we're seeing in health in general is the stress and how it affects everybody. Of course, Denise's presentation talked about the nutritional stress and all that, but mentally, I think we're a little more fried in this day and age than ever in history. And so the technology, it gets your brain into the state that people who meditate get into, and it's the state the little babies in, and the state the little children are in. Actually, that's why little kids can learn multiple languages before they're old enough to go to school, right? And they have photographic memories, and it's called theta state. Whereas when you get into school and you have to start studying and meeting deadlines and all that, you switch into beta, and most of us get stuck in beta. And beta is kind of like the fight, flight, and go, and try to remember everything and be on time for everything and all that. And we have a hard time switching back into theta, and it takes years of meditation practice for a lot of people, but this technology could get anybody there in about 10 minutes. And then when you're there, you have to be very careful about the thoughts that you think, because the door to the subconscious is wide open, and most people think about what they don't want, right? I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be sick. I don't want, whatever it is. But the subconscious doesn't recognize the not. It recognizes, says, fat, got it, right? And so then you try to, you lose a little weight, or you make a little money, or whatever happens, but your subconscious will sabotage it and put you right back where it thinks you're supposed to be, where you've been telling yourself you are, even though you didn't know you're telling yourself that. So while you're in that state, there's a man speaking, and there's different programs for different things. But he has a very calming, nice voice, and he's giving me all these positive things to think about and to do, and it increases your endorphin levels, which are the feel-good hormones. It increases serotonin, which is the happy hormones. It increases your I lost my train of thought. It's equivalent. A 24-minute session on here is equivalent of 3 hours of sleep. So, and most people will across the board, sleep like babies when they do this, no matter what program they're doing. We do have an insomnia program, and it's only a 5-week program. Like all the other programs are 12, 13, 20, 50 weeks. The insomnia program is only 5 weeks long, because it says it never takes more than 5 weeks for people to get a good night's sleep.
Yeah, it's a very profound, and when I'm in that state, I just see the pathways in my liver opening for the estrogen, and tumor goes with it and out. So that's coming up in June. And then July we have Sharon Sullivan speaking, and she's going to talk about angel therapy. And she's such an angel herself. So I highly recommend that. And then in August is Donna Labar. She's a local author, and she's going to talk about hope and healing. So those are what we have. And then in the fall we want Denise to come back and teach us how to juice, and bring our juicers, and then we're going to be having lymphatic therapy. Probably in December we'll have a drummer, and he has a very healing rhythm that helps to just stimulate healing responses in our body. So we have some good things coming up. So anyway, thank you so much for coming, and if you have any questions for Denise, please say.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's some iced tea if anyone wants any.
Thank you.
Oh, sure, and I know you're
Yeah,
saying.
I'm sure. Yeah, yeah. He doesn't break.